Welcome to Conscious Living Collective, where transformation is not just a word, but an experience. My name is Tomek. I'm a scientist, teacher, and transformation coach. In this live session, we blend the latest in scientific research, the deep wisdom of mindfulness, and the art of fulfilled living. This is an invitation to rewrite your story, to have a direct experience, and to emerge on the other side with renewed sense of purpose and well-being. Welcome to Conscious Living Collective in unusual time, but I'm very glad to see familiar faces. Hello, Parvana. Hello, Anne. Hello, Diane. Hello, Tosca. Hello, Nola. Hello, Hanya. Good to see you. Hello, Sandy. Good to see you all here. And today, a very important session on creativity. Like I said, unusual time. I could not set, Inside Timer does not allow me, you need the 48 hours to set up a live event, and that prevented me from having the session yesterday, but I decided to have it today, just a one-off. From next week, you'll be back to the normal schedule, which is Monday and Wednesday. Welcome my patrons here, members of my patron program. Very good to see you here. Always lovely to see your faces and have this conversation with you, because it is an important one. Are there anyone who's joining for the first time in this time slot? Hello, Jane. Good to see you. So for the benefit of those of you who are joining for the first time, we are continuing exploration of Maslow's theory of self-actualization. And Maslow is being known for his pyramid or hierarchy of needs, and his research and philosophy expanded much deeper into something I'm personally interested in, and something I've been exploring for over a decade now. And I think everybody does to some extent, some consciously, some less consciously. It's the self-actualization, which is the process of moving towards more fulfilled, more actualized people, realizing what the human potential is. And Maslow gives a couple of pointers where to look for them. And if you are familiar, as a quick reminder, of the pyramid of needs or hierarchy of needs that Maslow is famous for, it starts with those basic needs, physiological needs, the food, shelter. And then it jumps into things like self-esteem and sense of belonging, and overall what falls out of it, as long as those needs are being fulfilled, we become more and more actualized in our humanity, in our human potential, unless those needs are being met. If those needs are not being met, the security and safety and shelter and food, it's very difficult to think and talk about the higher concepts like creativity. But I can only imagine, since we're all using this fantastic technology, we are all, for all of us, those very basic needs are being met of shelter, of shelter and food, the physiological need, and the safety that flows out of it. Maybe not psychological safety, that's whole another topic, but at least the physical safety for most of us, and I'm pretty sure all of us who are here, are being met. And we are focusing in this series of lectures, discussion, talks that are followed by meditation on the aspect of self-actualization that, according to Abraham Maslow, were important in the life of every person. And for those of you who were listening to my previous lectures, previous talks, and previous sessions of Conscious Living Collective, today it's time to consider creativity. Creativity as an innate characteristic of our human being, I would say. And I asked you right here at the start, what are your ways of expressing yourself creatively? Thank you for your answer. And Nola said, Sandy said journaling, Nola drawing, Pavane jewelry and painting. Hanya says creating guided meditations and making jewelry. We certainly agree on the creating guided meditations. I do like creating guided meditations. And more importantly, I like guiding meditations. There's something, there's definitely creative expression that coming through that. And I really hope that you can sense that in the sessions that we are having, where meditation or guided meditation is a big part of it. It is both much easier to guide meditation in your presence, and it's also very creative and creatively enjoyable practice. Anne says writing. Beautiful. Jane says gardening and playing with children. And on that note, I just want to say I absolutely love children. And one of the things that is very apparent when you see any child, any baby, is their creative expression or unhindered creative expression before the personality develops. It seems that trait, the creativity trait, it's so very apparent. There's an unbiased, unhindered creativity that comes through each and every move of a child. And only later on in our life, as our personality develops, as we getting to know social norms, as the sense of self evolves, we start squashing it more and more and more and putting it into a box. So today's session is not only about putting creativity forward as the innate characteristic of human nature, but also maybe I want to talk briefly about what it means to be creative. And I do not want to limit it only to arts or artistic expression, where I think is the most obvious way. And I already saw Parvane, Parvane likes creating jewelry, painting, or writing poems. This is not the only way of expression. As a matter of fact, I want to invite you today to look at creativity as continuous development of human nature that is expressed in every single move we make, in every single breath we take. But it takes slight shift of perspective. Okay, and I want to once again, a great reference to creative expression is every baby's behavior, where we have spontaneity that is, as I said, unbiased, but what most adults possess in their lives. It's unbounded. It seems like for us, there are boundaries of creativity. And the more boundaries we create, the more we squander that natural ability of our, I dare say, spirit, not even body, but spirit in general, to express itself. And when I think about my creative expression, it takes many different forms. For me, mostly contact with nature is one of this expression when I feel that I can take a deep breath and relax. And even in stillness, the expression happens. And maybe this is a very important point here, that we don't need to do anything or act in a specific way to still be a continuously creative expression of life. This is a very important point. And in the meditation part, I will invite you to embrace that very attitude of creativity, writing, painting, creating physical forms. It's certainly very obvious expression of creativity. But I want you to consider a life as a continuous expression of that innate characteristic that being here in this system is. And if you want to go in more esoteric realms of this conversation, you could even consider consciousness, consciousness being the canvas for every experience and all expressions in all existences, is where continuous creativity happens. I like the saying that change is the only constant in the universe. And for the purpose of our conversation, I want to add one more word to this expression. Creative change is the only constant in the universe. Because every change, if we look at it on the fundamental level, is indeed a creative expression of the self. But what happens in the theory of self-actualization, as Maslow puts it out there, we are very often focused on the basic needs. And we think until certain conditions are being met, our creativity in that, again, in the expressive way, in the way of writing, drawing, painting, creating physical things, is being squandered. And that is really true, but only to the extent as an unaware person can see it. So the consciousness is expressed continuously, whether we are aware of it or not. But from the perspective of the personality or conditioned mind, there are certain boundaries within that enjoyable expression of creativity can happen. So I want to, Nina, drawing, painting, abstract free thoughts. So, hello, Serena. Just returned from wet and windy dog walk in the woods of Maine. I surprisingly finding ways to exist in, around, and as a part of the living world around us is how we have been letting my creative heart reign. That's a very poetic expression. Thank you, Serena, for sharing that. And as I said, I'm certainly resonating with what you said, because I think nature is always an incredible, spontaneous, creative expression of life without even trying. And I think that's why I love connecting with nature. That's what I feel the most inspired without doing anything. However, for those of you who want to be more creative, the being aware of your innate creativity, it's only the first step. Something that I have discovered in my own personal life I want to share with is something that many people do not consider at all. It may occur to some that creativity is something that we either have or possess or we don't have. So creativity is perceived in the perspective or in the context of your talents. But what I want to invite you today to consider is creativity as an expression of your discipline. And discipline is not just continuous pursuit of certain goals and mastery of the practice, but it's a continuous aspiring to be as aware in every and each moment of our lives as we can. And this is, for me personally, a big goal and challenge in itself, the being in awareness and observing the creativity expressions, many creative expressions as they already exist, And as I connect with that awareness, the creativity spontaneously arises. We feel inspired and guided by the creativity that already exists around us. However, there is an aspect of it where it requires a bit of will. And what I found particularly helpful in my personal life is that creativity arises in moments or in tasks that I repeat continuously. Tasks that I try to master. So it may happen that spontaneous expression, it's certainly one form of expression, but when I do something, whether it's a writing, using examples from our discussion, when it's a writing, painting, or sculpturing, or creating jewelry, the more we do it, the more proficient we become with the basics of any quote unquote art, the freer we are to express deeper potential. And one example comes to mind from Alan Alda, an actor who you may be familiar with from his famous portrayal of Dr. Spears in TV show MASH. I listen to his podcast sometimes, and he talks, he's been acting for most of his life, and that his story obviously does not come without challenges. But what he talks as he's mature his art of expression as an actor is when you finally read your lines and you no longer focus on the lines themselves, but you start using the inner self to interweave the self between the lines that you had to learn, if that makes any sense. So repetition and discipline in mastering the basics of any activity, whether it's a writing, whether it's a painting, and so on and so forth, is for me the absolute fundament of every creative expression. So when you, for instance, decide to journal, when you sit to journal for the first day, you might enjoy it a bit. You may feel a bit awkward. The second day, the third day, by the time of the 10th day, you'll see that the entries to your journal will be very different. The same applies to creating music. If you start playing musical instrument, you may express yourself creatively in a way that it's still enjoyable, mostly to you rather than the others. But the more you practice, the more you master the instrument, you no longer pay as much attention to the instrument itself, but instrument becomes part of you. And the expression that comes through it is that comes, so to speak, from the heart. And I don't know, a famous celloist, Yo-Yo Ma, comes to mind because he started practicing in a very early age. And he mastered that instrument. And when you look him, or quite frankly, any artist that spent enough time mastering the skill of playing an instrument, you'll see that there's no longer the emphasis on the instrument itself, but that's something much deeper. And from the perspective of someone who listens, you no longer just hear the music, you are no longer waiting for someone to make a mistake, but you focus on kind of the interpretation of what that music is. The music becomes, in this particular aspect, becomes so much more than just the signs on the musical score. We go way beyond that. And that's why the same musical score played by a beginner player will be very different, will be received by us very differently than by someone who is proficient in that particular instrument. So creativity to me, it's very much connected with discipline that happens on a daily basis or even to moment basis. And to add to that, I believe that you can take pretty much any activity, whether it's a physical activity, again, painting, drawing, playing music, or mental activity as meditation or inner transformation, and you can take it to the point where it becomes a creative expression. And I'm talking, as I said before, anything and everything, it's a creative expression. But in that human sense, creative expression that brings us joy and fulfillment. So I'm going to add another word to it. It's conscious creative expression of the self, which is very different to a creative expression that happens unconsciously in every movement, in every moment, through everything that we do and everything that happens around us. The creative expression still happens, but I think on the human level, we simply are not aware of it. So discipline in any activity, doing it continuously, consciously, over, longer periods of time, can be an incredible expression of our creativity that can be not only fulfilling, but can be enjoyed and can act as a gateway towards knowing yourself on a deeper level. And that's where we're coming to expression of our talents. Anyone, every single person has talents. Not just one, but multiple talents. But it goes without saying that just having a talent is not enough. Expressing this talent and mastering the art of that expression is by far the most important part of the journey and the process. So, today, I want to invite you to consider that and perhaps question to you, what do you see in your own life as a task or activity that become a creative expression of you as the time progressed? And again, we use already some examples, being in nature, creating jewelry, creating guided meditations or guiding meditations, or as I call it, guiding you into creative expression of your awareness. What are the other things that you found that over time became your personal expression of your creativity, and how they evolved from the stage where you began, when it was something that you, so to speak, sensed is good for you, it's a good creative expression, and you took it to the next level? I'd be very curious to know if anyone can share. Hanya, learning Spanish and being able to have a fluent conversation now. How interesting. I think you and me, Hanya, we share the joy of being able to express yourself. And on that very note, I want to say the other reason, important reason why what you say resonates with me so much, that I never thought in my life that I will be able to use my talent to express myself and my joy of expressing myself in other than my own mother tongue. I still sometimes surprise myself when I speak to you, when I use English, which is a foreign language to me. It's my second language. I can get to the point where I can truly and fully express myself. It still comes as a surprise to me. It took me, well, still, it's a process. And I recently, I'm reading quite a bit, and I read a book that still contains so many words I was not familiar with, and it was such a joy to, I'm using iPad to read electronic version of the books and click on the word and learn new meaning of those words. So it's a still continuous journey of expressing yourself. But I know I'm very much understand what you mean, Hanya, by learning a foreign language and being able to express yourself fluently. That certainly, it is a creative expression of the self. Thank you for sharing that. Diane, when I was planning different events through the library that felt very creative, the more I did it, the more the ideas seemed to flow. That is exactly what I'm talking about here. Thank you, Diane, for sharing that. The flow of things, the more we create, the more of the flow we open. And I want to bring to your mind something that you may be familiar with or not, but the theory or something that Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, a Hungarian researcher and philosopher, not discovered but put into words, the theory of flow. And according to him, in order to open the creative flow and be in that special state that we call the zone or the flow, requires the very thing that is creative, which is creativity itself, the action of creating. The more we do it, the more effort it takes effort to put the creativity forth. And then at some point, time comes where you let go. And the effort jumps into, or it's being converted into the sense of flow. And flow is this incredible space where the effort is no longer needed, but it seems like everything works in unison. All the senses, all body and mind are a spontaneous and effortless expression of the self. But before that happens, before that kind of creativity happens, the effort and disciplines are required, according to research that Mihai Csikszentmihalyi did, and now being used in many aspects of both arts, expressive arts, and business. So thank you, Diane, for sharing that. The more I did it, the more the ideas seemed to flow. This is certainly supported by the research, and many artists use it as a way of improving, enjoying, I would say, their creative expression and their arts. Yeah, Andy said, I understand the fluency is achieved when you dream that language. That is true. That is true. Nola, in nature, sometimes the poems flow in the zone, and I forget there are strains of word mastery. Another wonderful example of creative expression. Serena, appreciate that perspective. I have never considered that merely being able to be me in another language would be such a rewarding method of creating self-expression. And parenting, as I gained experience and confidence, I grew more creative. Phenomenal example. I cannot speak from my own experience because I'm not a parent, but I can imagine that if parenting is done consciously, if there is a conscious effort in bringing up a human being in this physical world, it can become, as in your case, a creative expression. So once again, I want to point out towards a very important aspect of the creative expression that we talk about today. It is a conscious expression. You're bringing consciousness and awareness to this process. Jane, when I'm using EMDR to help a trauma survivor in therapy and then watching a client unfold and move toward healing through the process. That's another incredible way of you clearly become an expert in using EMDR with your clients and use this tool so effectively now that becomes part of you and a part of your tool set to help people. And on that note, I also want to say that there's nothing to me personally as rewarding as working with people and seeing them overcoming the challenges and solving the problems. And this is perhaps a good point when I want to mention that creative expression and creativity is not only in arts and music. Our creativity, perhaps the most, if you look at the history of human species, is expressed in solving challenges, solving problems, and overcoming challenges that are ahead of us. And this connects very much with the entire theory of Maslow's self-actualization, that we do all those things and we making effort knowing that things are challenging. Before we get into the zone, into the state of flow, as Mihai Csikszentmihalyi says, there's a lot of challenges and problems that we need to solve. But if we realize that every problem, well, there's expression, every problem is an opportunity in disguise. And I think that expression fits very well in the theory of creativity that we're discovering today, because that problem solving itself is one of the most wonderful ways of expressing your creativity. So on that note, I just want to say that the course I have on Insight Timer, 6 Pillars of Conscious Living, is an invitation to finding in yourself through various techniques, various methods, finding that creative vein in aspects of your life that you may not have even considered. And it goes without saying, if you find something new in yourself that you didn't know you have, your life is very quickly uplifted and the enjoyment of your life increases dramatically. So if you have a chance, go to my profile on Insight Timer and under courses, tune in and check if you can find something that you did not consider before as your expression of your creativity. Okay, and now to meditation. As for those of you who are joining for the first time Conscious Living Collective, big part of our exploration is first-hand experience or direct experience that my intention is to lead you in through silent and guided exploration of the consciousness, tuning out of physical senses and going beyond the level of the senses of the mind, where there's a source of the creativity that we all can experience. So even, as I said during our conversation, even when not a single finger is moved, the life still expresses itself in a creative way. And I want you today to witness that. And for that, I will use a certain visualization that some of you may be familiar with after listening to my meditations. That is that expression. And for those of you who may think, oh, I'm not very good at visualization, right here at the start, I want to say it's not about seeing things in the front of your eyes, but it's more about connecting with the inner sense. And the inner sense can have many different expressions, not only visual, but sensory in the sense of the inner sense. In the sense of the inner sense. That wasn't a very precise expression. What I want you to consider is the inner senses that go beyond the physical senses that we are so familiar with. And as always, I prepared a music that will help us to walk the path of creativity. And today, Chris Collins, our musician here on Inside Timer, that I frequently use as a background to my meditations. And so today, I will use one of his tracks, and it is going to be a piano meditation. I'm going to type it in to give credit to Chris Collins. And if you wish to listen to him later, and let us see how well Chris's piano meditation will serve in our personal exploration and having direct experience. Okay. I will switch the screen to meditation. In this meditation, we embark upon a journey of exploring our inner creativity. Make yourself very comfortable and at ease, releasing any tension that may get in the way of this exploration. I invite you to sit upright with your feet grounding you on the floor, your hands in your lap. So that your breath flows freely and you feel the freedom on the inner level. If there's still any discomfort and tension, you may soften it. And as you close your eyes and your attention goes within, you become aware of your inner senses. First, the bodily sensations, then the awareness of your thoughts, emotions, and feelings, and then the awareness of the awareness itself. Who is it that experiencing the reality right now? Become aware of the observer, the consciousness itself that is being creative by simply being. And this is the starting point of our exploration. The clean slate of here and now, starting fresh, starting anew. And now this canvas an image or a sense of a garden. Bring to mind a place that you have been to already. Use it as a template and build on it, adding feelings, sensations. Bring a memory that has emotional valency to it, that creates a sense within your body. And begin walking through this garden in the way that is enjoyable for you. Looking to the left and looking to the right. There are flowers and shrubs. Some of them you enjoy, some of them pleasing to your eyes and to your senses. Then you find that a thought pops in. A thought pattern that you have not chosen for this pleasant walk in your garden. And in this very moment, you can choose to simply walk past by it. In every garden, there are seeds and there are weeds. And in this exploration, you choose which one to focus on. Seeds grow into flowers and trees. And unwelcome thoughts may pollute that wonderful landscape if you choose to focus on them. But you may as well to simply move forward, pass by, and let them be. Moving deeper into the visual, sensual expression of the garden of creativity that you move in with your awareness. And I will let you to journey through your own garden of creation on your own as I stand by your side to hold the space. is time to return. Close the gate as you are leaving your garden. Express your gratitude for the experience that you have with your creativity. And begin journey back into your physicality by reconnecting with the sense of sight, being aware of brighter and darker spots in front of your closed eyes. Connect with the sound of my voice and sound of music. Reconnect with sense of smell and taste. And finally, the sense of touch, as you can perceive through sensing the boundaries of your physical body, connecting with the outer space. Your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap, your sit bones, your back. And conclude by taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Okay. We are back from our creative journey in awareness. Thank you for meditating with me. As always, a wonderful experience, during which I could experience both the silence and the stillness and the invading thoughts and the visualization. I invited you, the walking through the garden and seeing seeds and weeds, seeds growing into flowers and weeds being the usual compulsive thoughts that invade the creative space, but also our creative expression. I'd be curious to know, how did you feel during this and how you feel right now? Maybe in one or two words. Feel free to put it in the comment section. And as we're concluding this session, I just want to say that for me personally, Conscious Living Collective is the ultimate expression of my creativity. And I want to thank you for giving me your attention and allowing this expression to find a ground where it can grow and hopefully inspire you and people around you to grow. It's like putting a seed that hopefully grows into something, the creative expression, and a beautiful creative expression. Thank you, Tosca. Extreme emotional meditation for me. Diane, thank you for sharing creativity. Lovely meditation. Thank you so much. And feeling peace. Thank you. So we will return to Conscious Living Collective in a normal schedule. So Monday. I'm not sure if this session is already. Actually, I may copy and paste, if you give me a second, the link to it, because Insight Timer has been a bit of slow with posting these live sessions, but I think I already created it, and I'll be able to give you a link right now. I'm going to copy a link. The next one will be continuation on the theory of self-actualization by Abraham Maslow, and it will be called Resilience Through Mindfulness. And the one on Wednesday, and the last one before the New Year's break, Christmas and New Year's break, will be called Radical Self-Acceptance. And I chosen this specifically as a reference to Tara Brach's book, Radical Self-Acceptance, because we'll be definitely considering that. So that's the link. I hope you can copy paste and click on it and sign up for the session. Zach, thank you for a reminder to be aware of the awareness itself, which is ultimate creative expression, I reckon. So thank you, Zach. Marge had fun in her garden. Wonderful. Serena, thank you for creating and sharing this space and this purpose. Experience some profound emotions. There you go. There is a creative expression. Being emotional, humans are emotional beings. So experiencing those emotions is always wonderful. Nina, I was emotional, bittersweet, exploring, remembering my creative self prior to this chronic illness that I have. The reaction to the Pfizer vaccine has dulled my brain. Interesting that you mentioned that, but just yesterday I had a session with a client that experienced similar effect. She's an academic who experienced the effects of COVID in that very sense of dulling your senses. So I'm sorry, and I don't want to start a conversation about vaccines. This is not place and time, but certainly, Nina, feel free to reach out to me to continue this conversation outside of Inside Timer, if you wish, because I have much to say, and I explore that territory very, very well. Parvane, a beautiful meditation, thank you, guided me into a more peaceful place in my mind. My mind being the expression of the inner creativity, your personal garden. Thank you, Sandy. And thank you all. Thank you also for your attention, for your energy, for your presence, and also for your all donations that help me to continue this work and fulfill those basic needs that Maslow talks about. And I want to appreciate that frees up the creative space for things that are beyond the survival mode. So thank you so much for all your generous donations in this live session and through my meditations. So we will come back on Monday or Sunday if you're in the US, and then Wednesday or Tuesday. So feel free to sign up for those sessions as they show up. You can go to my profile and follow me there to receive notifications about the future events, and I will have a chance to connect with you before the Christmas break that we'll talk about next time. So once again, thank you so much. I wish you a pleasant day or restful evening wherever you are. Thank you, Hania. Dziękuję również. I will leave you with Chris Collins and his piano meditation. Enjoy, and until next time.